Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Awards Magnet here at Gold Derby. I am Senior Editor Marcus James Dixon.
I'm Senior Editor Denton Davidson, and we have a special guest today, Senior Editor Mia McNiece. Welcome to the pod, Mia.
Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to be here.
Yeah, I was going to ask for like a one-word description of how you're feeling, but you just said excited.
There you go. I already overperformed on this podcast.
So I kind of want to start by addressing some of one of our fans, Jonathan Seidel. He wrote to us last week and talked about some Emmy episode submissions, which at Gold Derby we have revealed all of those. So those are in our forums. So here is what he said. For comedy actor, Adam Brody probably should have gone with the season finale over the pilot. Dun, dun, dun. Did he pick the wrong one? Well, Jeremy Allen White he had better material with the finale Forever instead of the one he submitted tomorrow, which was the premiere. Also for The Bear, Eben Moss-Backrack should have submitted episode 4 of Violet, that's where we see the tender side of Richie, but instead he went with episode 3, Doors, where we see the usual hot-headed Richie. So again, this is kind of what we talked about last week. Some actors maybe could have gone with better choices, but at the end of the day, do episodes matter?
To me, it doesn't really make a difference anymore. They're not required to watch these episodes. This is like a formality from years and years ago when you had to like prove that you watched a specific episode. I get it that you still sort of want to submit your best. But if you're in it throughout the series, they're going to see you. I feel like this would be more important for, someone who's in like a limited series that has like one really good episode or something like that. But I just don't know that it makes a huge difference in comedy, especially in the lead categories at this point. It's sort of an outdated format.
Yeah. In a just world, right, Mia, the episodes would matter.
Yeah, and I agree with Denton. I think you kind of just, you're seeing the overall performance, but it probably does give each actor, a little bit of creative control or, the studio to be able to pick which one they think is their best to present.
It is interesting what they think is their best, though, and how that often is not what fans think. So it would be fun to just have that conversation with some of them and just be, why did you pick that episode?
Are you sure about that one? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, for that question. And if anyone else has a question, go ahead and email us awardsmagnet@goldderby.com, or you can talk to us in the forums. And also you can send in your voice memos. Email us your voice memos and we will play your lovely voices on the show. Okay, let's go into comedy. We're going to talk about comedy series, all of the acting categories, directing, writing, and yes, casting.
Woo!
Casting.
Right.
We're nerds, right? So who wants to go first? What are you thinking about best comedy series?
I feel like it's the year of the studio. I mean, doesn't everyone agree? I think right now in the odds, what are they at? Like we have them at like a 70% chance of winning. I think that's a little high. I mean, I don't want to write off Hacks so fast. I mean, we're talking about a show that is the returning defending champion. So I don't want to say it's 70 and like Hacks has a 15% chance like our odds say. I would say maybe more like a 60-40. Like there's some room, but it's hard to argue with the number of nominations that the studio has.
Yeah, it got 23. That's the most ever for a first-time comedy, whereas Hacks got 14. Mia, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the studio is really riding this huge wave of momentum they have behind them, but people still do love Hacks. And, they were surprised when kind of last year, I remember the shock on their faces and when they accepted. And I think everyone was so happy for them. And they still, got a lot of nominations for Best Actress and Supporting and Guest Star. So they also have a lot. I don't know. I think, like Denton said, it's going to be closer than we think.
We'll probably find out like when the writing, I mean, we're going to get into writing later, but when they read who wins writing, I feel like if Hacks loses writing, then it's maybe in trouble for series.
Well, there's no rules. We can go into writing right now. Should we?
Yeah. I mean, but first of all, we all agree comedy series, it's between the studio and Hacks.
Yeah, I'm going with the studio. I've had it since before the nominations, and the nominations really only cemented it when Paul W. Downs missed supporting actor and Megan Stalter missed supporting actress. Those were two easy gets that it missed. I mean, that was a telltale sign for me that I was on the right track with the studio. We'll see. I mean, shocks have happened. Last year, The Bear won the most Emmys ever for a comedy series, and it still lost Best Comedy Series. So anything can happen at the end.
It's crazy.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do writing. Best comedy writing. The nominees are dun, 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 Hacks, A Slippery Slope, and these are in order of our odds. So that's number one right now. The Studio, The Promotion is number two. Abbott Elementary, Back to School. What We Do in the Shadows, the finale. Somebody Somewhere, AGG. The Rehearsal, Pilot's Code. First of all, I think The Rehearsal is way too low. That episode deserves, maybe third place.
I think people are confused about the writing. Maybe that goes into that series because it seems so like ad-libbed, but I mean, he's a genius. Like what he does, and his writing deserves to be in there. So I'm glad he was even nominated.
Yeah, I think it'll be higher up. I still think Hacks probably has the best bet on this one. The material also just became even more timely with Stephen Colbert, and the episode they submitted was, about kind of the behind the scenes of Deborah Vance's talk show and kind of the politics behind what happens. And it's just funny, it's still funny, and I don't know. I still think they have a pretty good chance in this category.
Hacks was winning writing before they were winning series. So even before they won Best Comedy Series, they had won the writing prize before. So I feel like this is their strongest category. I mean, Gene Smart's their strongest category, but other than that, writing is its strongest category. So if it's going to take anything from the studio, this could be where it prevails. And if it does not, like I said before, it's probably not going to win Best Comedy Series.
Right. And, two of the writers for the Hacks episode, Lucia Aniello and Jen Statsky, they're already at 2 wins, which is the most ever for a woman in this category, tied with Tina Fey. If they win a third, it will be the most ever for a woman. So we'll be watching that stat. That's going to be very interesting.
You know what's interesting here, too, is that there's no doubling up. Like, we see that in drama sometimes, but it's just not happening on the comedy side. And it's fun to see the writers branch of the Academy go outside of the box. So we're like having the Rehearsal there, and then Somebody Somewhere, and What We Do in the Shadows, less of a surprise because it is the finale, and they're up for series as well. But it's just nice to see some of those different shows get in there.
Yeah, like you guys said, the odds do have Hacks winning writing. I'm going with the studio sweep for writing and directing. I think it's going to win both.
Which would be all Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I think it will win directing. And, he's getting a lot of buzz for all the, the oneer and all of that stuff. But I still think writing could go to Hacks.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of directing, the nominees are... The Studio is out front for the oneer. The Bear is in second for Napkins. Hacks is in third for A Slippery Slope. And then we have Mid-Century Modern for Here's to You, Mrs. Schneiderman. And then The Rehearsal, fifth place for Pilot's Code. So, the oneer was the one take episode, but a lot of the studio's episodes were done in long takes. But I think the fact that it was so directorly, this episode, it really, it's got an 86% chance of winning, and I think that could be higher. I think
it just wanted the oneer on the ballot. All the director has to see is that title, and it's like, oh yeah, that's the directing episode. It's a very strategic episode, not only for like how great the episode is, but you see the oneer on the ballot. That's where you're gravitating towards.
Yeah, it's a great episode, and they did do a lot of press about it and talked a ton about the lighting and the sunsetting and this and that and how they made it happen. And I think it's been getting a lot of attention for that particular episode.
It gave me anxiety watching it because I'm like, please don't mess up, please don't. I don't want you to do it again. But it's like, Who cares if they do it again? I'm not there. I'm not them. I wonder, does anyone know how many times it took them to do that?
What?
I mean, did they mess up at all and have to redo it?
I know the studio and the bear kind of give me like similar anxiety levels of just like the constant like, chaos.
The Bear, by the way, is a two-time defending champ in this category. It won last year, even though Hacks won Comedy Series. So don't completely count out The Bear. It submitted napkins. Although I will say, Christopher Storer directed the previous two, and this year's episode submission is napkins, which was directed by Ayo Edebiri. So,
and it's rare that actors win for for directing their shows. I mean, Jason Bateman did it for Ozark, and Ellen Alda did it for MASH, but it's very, very rare. So if she does this, kudos to her if she pulls this off.
That would be so cool if she could pull it off. I agree.
Uh-huh. So should we get into acting now? I feel like some of these are, maybe we can go quickly on them because
smart and we're done. No, just kidding.
No, I mean, you're probably right. Let's phrase it this way. Who could beat Jean Smart?
Nobody.
It's going to be really tough to beat Jean Smart.
I think there's every category you could make an argument for someone to win except for this one. I just can't see anybody beating Jean Smart in this lineup. We've got Kristen Bell in a new show that is well liked, but I mean, the Academy didn't love it. Ayo Edebiri, who's been here before and lost. Quinta Brunson, who's been here before and won, and then lost. So a comeback is unlikely. And then Uzo Aduba, who the Academy does love. She's the only nominee from her show, and I feel like that nomination was the prize.
Remember, though, when Quinta won this, who was not eligible that year? Jean Smart, because her show was on hiatus. So I feel like if Jean wasn't here, maybe Quinta would be second. Maybe Uzo would be second, just because they do love her. And I feel like I should mention the episode titles because, Gold Derby is the one that uncovered these. So Uzo's episode is The Mystery of the Yellow Room. Kristen Bell's is The Pilot. Quinta's is Strike. Ayo's is Legacy. And Jean's is I Love LA.
And Marcus, I think your article is the one that pointed out that she would be making history as well if she did win, joining, the ranks of Helen Hunt and who else? Candice Bergen, I think it was, for getting 4 more, I think your article was stating.
Yes. So right now, Helen Hunt does have 4 in this category, and Jean is going to probably tie her with 4. But the one who, there's still a long way to go for Jean to catch up to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Who won 7 in this category, and she has another one for Seinfeld, and she has more for producing. So she's got a lot.
I just love that Jean and Helen are in it together now, and they have all these words, but they have some of the best scenes on that show together.
I wonder if they bring their Emmys to set so the Emmys can kiss each other.
They play like Barbies with their Emmys, we can talk to each other.
All right, so best comedy actor, we have Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This for The Pilot, Seth Rogen for The Studio, for The Pediatric Oncologist, Jason Segel for Shrinking, for The Drugs Don't Work, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, for Escape from Planet Klongo, and Jeremy Allen White for The Bear for Tomorrow. Mia, who do you have in this one?
Well, I think Seth is probably going to take this one. Although personally, I just think Martin Short would give such a funny speech at the Emmys that I'd love to see that. And he also didn't get to deliver his speech at the SAG Awards because he wasn't in attendance. So this would be really fun. I don't know, though. I think it's going to be between the two of them. But I do think, Martin Short is so beloved. And it's really the only nomination for the show. So, he could do a surprise win, although I know Seth is leading.
Yeah, our odds have Seth winning with a 74% chance to Martin Short's 12. I feel like it's actually, the race is closer than that.
I think it has to be. Yeah, I agree.
Because like you said, Martin very surprisingly won the SAG Award. He was not expected to do that. Did he have COVID or did he just
No, I think he had COVID. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And he has been leading the odds up to the nomination, through the nomination phase. And now Seth has taken this huge lead now that everyone has seen how well received the studio was. But really, up until then, Martin was the favorite, based really only on that SAG win, which I felt like was just very anti the Bear, more than it was pro. Well, you know what? Only Murders did win ensemble as well. So the Actors Branch did love that. So, I mean, I think it is closer than 74-12. And Seth has so many other nominations that maybe they're just like, we don't need to give him acting. I mean, maybe we give him directing, writing, and series. That's enough. So there is room for that where they could just be like, no, we want to go with Martin Short, the OG in this category.
And we did look into the history of, has anyone won 4 Emmys on the same night? And they have. Most recently, Dan Levy did it for Schitt's Creek. But Dan's acting Emmy was for supporting. So Seth Rogen would be the first person ever to win series, writing, directing, and lead acting. So, I mean, let's make it happen. Let's have him hold his little 4 babies in his arms like Beyonce always does at the Grammys.
It's a lot going from 0 to 4 in one night.
That would be a big win for him. I think he was even, joking. He's never really gotten these, type of accolades before, except maybe from like, an MTV Movie Award or High Times Magazine, or, this is like a huge kind of a leap for him in the awards world.
I mean, Sean Baker just went from 0 to 4 in one night, so it's possible.
So it is possible.
Okay, Best Comedy Supporting Actress. We have Liza Colon-Zayas for The Bear for Napkins, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks for Mrs. Table, Catherine Hahn for The Studio for Casting, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary for Music Class, Catherine O'Hara for The Studio for The Promotion, Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary for the 100th Day of School, and Jessica Williams, the hilarious Jessica Williams, for Shrinking for Changing Patterns. Liza won this last year, kind of in a shockaroo, and I think it was because voters had just watched Napkins, even though she didn't win for Napkins last year. She could win for Napkins this year. I just like saying Napkins.
Yeah. I think that we all have Hannah out front right now. And I feel like the Bears' time is kind of come and gone. I'm sad to say for them. If I was Hannah, and I really want Hannah to win, I think that episode is perfect, by the way. This is Tables. But I would be really concerned about Catherine O'Hara, who has won, and she's beloved in the industry, and the studio is so strong, and she has just such the wacky intro to that show as like this woman who's outcast from the industry, and she's just losing her mind in her massive yard outside of her mansion. I mean, it's just, there's so much to that could draw voters in that I'm a little worried that Hannah's gonna lose another Emmy.
You're right. It is like a physically demanding, over-the-top performance, which is what Emmy voters love. I have Catherine in second.
Oh, really? I mean, I have Hannah in first as well, but I love that scene that Catherine does, and I wouldn't be like overly shocked if she did get it. But I think it's also worth mentioning Janelle James as Principal Ava for this particular season. I mean, I spoke with her last week, and it's really like one of the first times her character's kind of gone from just like the funny jokes, which is she's great at, and the one-liners, but she's definitely kind of had a more emotional arc this season when, her father comes to visit the campus, and has a romantic relationship with someone else. So I think there's more to her character this time, Principal Ava. So maybe it's Principal Ava versus other Ava on Hacks. I don't know, but I think, she has a little bit higher chance than people are predicting at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard for when someone in the show takes it, it's hard for the other one to come. Like, I feel like that used to happen more when you think of like the Golden Girls or something like that. They all won the Emmy, but it's like once they decided Cheryl Lee Ralph was the Emmy winner, then it was like Janelle got pushed into the back, and she really deserves her win. And it makes you wonder too, with this number of nominees that we see, if there is a split of any kind, it only takes a certain percentage when you've got 7 people up for the award. I'm not going to do math live on camera and embarrass myself, but it doesn't take a huge percentage to win the majority of the vote.
I mean, you're all convincing me that maybe Hannah is not a lock in this category. Like, I kind of thought she was after the nominations came out, or maybe after. after I watched the season and I saw how good she was, I'm like, there's no way anyone could beat her. But now I'm like, maybe Catherine, maybe Liza for actual napkins, maybe Janelle James for the storyline where she got fired.
And it was heavily favored last year as well. So it's just hard to be not prepared for disappointment when you because I did love that episode where she's just like freaking out in the office. But yeah, I don't know. This is a much more difficult category than it looks just on paper.
Right. And I mean, if they go for the funniest, I feel like Jessica Williams could win. Anyways, let's move on to comedy supporting actor. We've got Ike Barinholtz for The Studio for The War, Coleman Domingo for The Four Seasons for Echo Resort, Harrison Ford for Shrinking for The Last Thanksgiving, Jeff Hiller for Somebody Somewhere for As Much as I Like Not Feeling, Eben Moss-Backrack for The Bear for Doors, Michael Urie for Shrinking, Full Grown Dude Face, and Bowen Yang for Saturday Night Live, the Gene Smart episode. More Gene Smart. So our odds have Ike Barinholtz out front with a 46% chance. In second place, Harrison Ford, 39% chance. This is quite possibly the closest acting race at the Emmys.
I will go first because I do feel like it's going to be Harrison. I really just have a strong feeling he's so beloved, and he's never won an Oscar or an Emmy, and it's really his time. But I'm not just like saying he should win because he's Harrison Ford, which I think sometimes does happen. But I actually think his portrayal of Paul, this therapist with Parkinson's, is such a great role. He does such an amazing job with it. And I love just his different interactions on the show with each character. He really changes when he's talking to, Lakita, who plays Jason Segel's daughter, Alice, or when he's talking with Jessica Williams and she's kind of, being funny and over the top, or Wendy Malick and, these like kind of, quiet romantic scenes that he does. You just kind of see his character go through so many different changes, and he's dealing with so much on the show. So yes, it's Harrison Ford, but like also this is a really great performance.
And something else that people outside of Hollywood may not know, Harrison Ford is out there campaigning. He's doing interviews. He's going to office buildings and meeting with people and shaking voters' hands. I think he wants this. And I think that matters. If you're a voter and you're like, oh, I like Ike, I like Harrison wants this. Like that helps you maybe mark his name.
He absolutely wants it. But Hollywood has like smacked him around for a long time. I mean, this is one of the biggest stars of all time. They still haven't given him like an honorary Oscar. He's been passed over for people younger, less successful. I mean, this guy needs a break. Are they going to vote for him? I don't know. It took him this long to even get us like a nomination.
Well, I don't even know if he needs a break. I mean, he's doing pretty well, Denton. So, yeah.
Maybe a break is the wrong word, but he needs an award. Give him a trophy.
Yes.
But you know what? I've been so adamant that Ike is going to win this since before nominations were even announced that I just feel like too proud to go back on that. I feel like I'm going to just hold out on it because I think it is the typical quintessential, like, look at me supporting actor performance that you would see from like Sean Hayes and Will and Grace, or like just the classic attention grabbers. So I'm sticking with Ike. I very much feel nervous about that and think that Harrison Ford could absolutely win.
Eben Moss-Backrack has won this twice in a row. So, I mean, not a lot of people win this 3 times in a row. So he is in this. We know voters love repeats. So if there's any bear love at all, don't count out Eben. He is in 3rd place. Okay, should we move on to the guest categories? The nominees for comedy guest actress are Olivia Colman for The Bear, Forever, Jamie Lee Curtis for The Bear, Ice Chips, Cynthia Erivo for Poker Face, The Game Is Afoot, Robbie Hoffman for Hacks, Cover Girls, Zoe Kravitz for The Studio, The Presentation, and Julianne Nicholson for Hacks, A Slippery Slope. I think this is Julianne Nicholson's to lose. She is so funny in this role of Dance Mom, who we find out in the finale. Her name is Mary Alice. She is kind of like this unassuming, cutesy lady, but then she does have a dark side, which is really funny to watch.
Oh yeah, she's doing a lot of coke in the back. She's got to keep up and keep those moves going.
What did they call it? Booth me? Is that what she's saying? And you're right. She has won before for the Mayor of Easton,
Yeah.
Easttown, Easttown,
Easttown.
right?
Easttown.
Easttown.
No, it's
Do you think, Mia? Do you think Julianne's got this?
I think so. I think it's very simple. I mean, not as much of a slam dunk as Jean Smart, but I mean, just even when I say that her character's name, it makes me laugh. I mean, she's so good in this, so funny. I don't think we've really ever seen her in a role like this. She really just puts herself all into it. I mean, I think this is hers. I do think the Academy loves, I mean, Olivia, voters love her. Jamie Lee Curtis is beloved in Hollywood too. So you have, other people that, are really well liked and could get votes too. But I think this year it's going to go to Jillian.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I think she's in the strongest position. Although, because Zoe Kravitz from the studio playing herself, it's very difficult to win for playing yourself. And Julianne is definitely not playing herself unless she's much different than we think she is. But it's hard to overlook Cynthia Erivo. She's very popular. She just killed it at the Hollywood Bowl, and all of these voters live in LA. And everyone's talking about like how amazing she was in Jesus Christ Superstar. And she's just the quintessential performer. Like people love her. And Judith Light won for Poker Face, and so even though the show didn't do well overall that season, it's still got a win for Judith Light. So I think Julianne is out front. I don't think that's as much of a lock as some people might think. I think this category is up in the air.
Yeah,
we can overlook Jamie Lee Curtis again as well.
Yeah, that's a good point about Cynthia.
I know you're starting to convince me. Maybe Cynthia has this in the bag because of the Jesus Christ Superstar thing and the 5 roles thing, and Poker Face won this category last time. I don't know what to do. And you mentioned Zoe Kravitz playing herself. Betty White played herself on the John Larroquette show in this category and won. And then Emma Thompson played herself on Ellen, not the talk show, the sitcom, in 1998 and won. So it's happened twice in this category. So Zoe could do it, although it doesn't really happen in other categories. It almost never happens. But I'm sticking with Julianne for now. But remember last summer when we all watched that Ice Chips episode, we're like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis has it again. She's going to win again. We can't forget that feeling.
She might win it again.
Yeah.
And they love Jamie Lee Curtis. They still love Jamie Lee Curtis. Whatever they think of anything else going on, I mean, she's like one of the iconic legends that they love to give awards to.
I feel like whenever I just interview someone, they tell me a story about how Jamie Lee Curtis like influenced them or changed their life. Like she's just very beloved in the, amongst actors.
And I'm not the biggest Bear fan in the world, but that episode was really good. Her and Abby Elliott, it was basically like a two-hander between both of them. I can't believe Abby Elliott was snubbed. That still surprises me. Okay, so our last acting category would be comedy guest actor. We have John Bernthal for The Bear, Napkins, my favorite word, Bryan Cranston for The Studio, CinemaCon, Dave Franco. And by the way, the next 4 people are also from The Studio, but they play themselves. Dave Franco for CinemaCon, Ron Howard for The Note, Anthony Mackie for The Note, and Martin Scorsese for The Promotion. And like we just said, sometimes it's hard to win for playing yourself, but Bryan Cranston is the only studio person here that's playing a character. And he plays an over-the-top, wild, mushroom-addicted, naked studio executive who this role was tailor-made for Emmys. And Bryan Cranston has a ton of Emmys for drama for Breaking Bad, but this would be his first for comedy.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely take this category. He has the most substantial role. All the other, they have like pivotal moments on The Studio, all the other guest actors, but Bryan really has more of a substantial role. Although, it would be it would be funny to see Martin Scorsese win. And, Ron Howard made a funny video about how he had done all this acting and why now, or, kind of poking fun at the fact that he's now getting recognized for acting. But I'd still put my bet on Bryan.
If I looked at this without watching the show, I would be like, there's one person from The Bear and then 5 people from The Studio. They're for sure splitting the votes. But if you watch it, it's not close. I don't think it's close. I think Bryan Cranston has it so locked up that the other four nominees from his show are not gonna like bring him down. They might split with each other playing themselves in that side, but I think Bryan Cranston is just like over here doing something else. And I'm not writing off John Bernthal, who did win last year. So I mean, these guest categories can also like be unique in themselves as well. It doesn't necessarily every year we watch the creative arts and things happen and everyone panics and changes their prediction for the primetime Emmys, and then all the changes you made were wrong. Like creative arts don't necessarily give a tell or a warning to what's actually going to happen on the big night.
Yeah, and John Bernthal, he is also out there campaigning. He's doing interviews. And I love how, he was on The Walking Dead. When he got killed off, that was the end of his character. On The Bear, when he got killed off, that was the beginning of his character. And he's haunting the show now, to steal a phrase from Deborah Birnbaum. He's haunting the Bear. He comes every season. He knocks out of the park with 1 or 2 episodes. And he, like you just said, he just won this. So he definitely is in this race. Okay, the last category, Derbyites, we will be talking about is Best Comedy Casting, because this is such a pivotal category. Just like for the drama, for the limited, it's also pivotal for comedy. Best Comedy Casting has matched with Best Comedy Series for 8 of the past 10 years, 80%. The 2 exceptions were in 2024, The Bear won casting over Hacks, which won series. And in 2022, Abbott Elementary won casting while Ted Lasso won series. So that said, what do we think is winning casting this year, Denton?
I mean, I'm going with the studio based on the 1,000 acting nominations that they got. So, I mean...
Is this easy? This is easy.
I mean, how do you argue with casting when you look at the Emmy ballots for all of the acting categories? And also, it's a new show. I feel like it's easier for a new show to break out in casting than... because everyone's new and you're like, so you're just automatically a top of mind is like, oh, they just cast all these people and they're great. So let's like go in that direction. And unless you're like having a heavy rotation of guests and new arcs, I feel like it's more difficult for a show to continue in that way. And The Bear had a lot of great guest appearances in their newer seasons, and so I think that's why they were able to come back with casting. But I think that's going to be more difficult for Hacks, and Shrinking. Only Murders, they do turn things around on that cast a little more.
Yeah, I think that might be why Only Murders is in second place, because of all of the special guest stars they had. The Bear is in third place, Hacks is in fourth, and Shrinking is in fifth for casting. Mia, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think that's actually a good order. I mean, I think the studio, and then I think Only Murders, because of all the guest stars and the fun cameos that they did have. I think that definitely makes the most sense.
It's funny, last week, Denton, we talked about drama casting, and that was way more exciting than this one, because that was like, is it going to be Severance? Is it going to be White Lotus? Is it going to be The Pit? This one, we're all like, the studio's winning casting.
Yeah, it's a little less dramatic than drama, for sure. And I think the only drama in comedy is like how bad or how big is the studio going to sweep? Is it going to be the most boring Emmys ever when they just keep saying the studio? Like, are we going to watch Seth go up on that stage 4 times? And do we want to? I hope he has unique, funny things planned.
Oh yeah,
variations. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of a snoozer.
Yeah, I hope they do kind of mix it up. It's just a better show when more shows get love spread across. But yeah,
the wealth.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I hope you're right, and I hope Seth is at least preparing 4 different speeches, because we don't want to see the same thing over and over and over.
I mean, they did a whole episode about like the Golden Globes. He should be prepared. And they talk very in depth about the speech and how he wanted to be name dropped. I hope he's thinking more about what he's not just thinking about like a list of people to thank like his character wanted.
No, I would be so bored if he just did film reads from a piece of paper. Well, thank you everybody for watching this episode of Awards Magnet. Next week, we will be talking all about the limited series races. It's basically adolescents versus the Penguins, so that'll be interesting. You can email us your questions and comments at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com and send us your voice memos as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.